Hi, it's Dr. Connie here. So, as somebody who lives with a chronic illness, I've had many struggles on my personal path to wellness. The emotional roller coaster that comes with living with a chronic illness is not a fun ride. It really tests you in ways you can never imagine. It can bring out the worst in you, or it can bring out the best in you. It's all about making choices. But how do you make choices when there's so many options? I can tell you for sure that all of you generally know what to do, but we also know that knowledge doesn't really change behavior. The amount of experts that claim to have all the answers, from the perfect diet plan to supplements, labs, etc., is getting a bit overwhelming. More than the options themselves, after working with thousands of you and patients, I believe that there are three roadblocks that tend to keep you exactly where you are. Number one is your limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are like your filters to the world, right? Imagine wearing sunglasses that are purple. And when you look up through the purple filter, what color will the world be? Well, it's going to be purple, right? How about if it's blue, red, or even pink? That's how our limiting beliefs work. They are filters that we have, and most of us don't even know that we have them. So when I was first diagnosed with lupus, my conditioned response was to listen to the doctors. I believed that doctors had all the answers and had my back in getting my health under my control. At first, the doctors didn't know what was wrong, but as soon as they knew I had lupus, which was verified by my lab tests, they said it was a life sentence of managing the fire within me, a fire that needed to be calmed by corticosteroids for the rest of my life. At first, I was in denial. Then, as time passed, I became resentful and angry. And from there, I accepted my diagnoses. Once I accepted the terms dictated by my doctors on what I could not do anymore, no sun, to pace myself, take meds, and rest as needed, I simply complied. I understand in retrospect that fear can overwhelm and consume you to obsess over what you can't do anymore. And everything you do validates what you no longer can do. I was so helpless to lupus for a couple of years. I was just glad that it was managed by my doctors. Never mind the ambitions I had prior to lupus. Even though I wanted so badly to go on to achieve great things, my limiting beliefs at the time retracted me back to where the doctor said I belonged. So I succumbed to the routine doctor visits, monitoring labs, and taking infusions or medications for years and years, repeat cycle. Whether you're struggling with health or disease, I can tell you for sure that there is a better way. You need to break through your limiting beliefs. Number two is to conquer indecisiveness. Once I decided that I would stop at nothing to feel better and regain control over my health from lupus, I never looked back. The tipping point for me was when I sought out a lupus support group in the hopes of connecting with those who wanted better for themselves. But what I walked into was a room full of woe is me lupus patients who've become victims to the disease. I left that meeting and never looked back. That was not what I wanted for my life. In part, I was scared at the reality of my disease, that I too could become complacent and helpless. But after 19 years, I've learned that if you're committed, you'll always find a way. Health is my livelihood. Without health, I'd have no job, quality of life, and would be living in depression. I was determined to get well, and that's what I've done. Once I decided, though, there was no turning back. I was going to get well, period. My health became a priority. Once you make a decision, it's important for you to understand that your limiting beliefs will show up no matter what. Every step of the way, you'll have to negotiate your resolve and win yourself over time and time again. My point to this is that the resolve to do anything in life is the most important. Most of us suffer from indecision. 80% really of success is psychology and 20% is strategy. I've got the strategy, but 80% is on you. Healing really is an inside job for that reason. For me, failure was not an option. The price that I had to pay and continue to pay is purely my effort. I know that you can't dabble on creating your health. It's a full commitment. Is it hard? Yes. Getting fired from my life and health taught me that if I look outside of myself for help, all I'll be offered are treatments. But that doesn't change my status. I needed a way to change my status from sick to health. Belief is an ongoing conversation that you'll have with yourself. You'll have to learn to tell yourself new stories, adapt to new things, and create an empowering mind to grow and change your state. If that's your operating ground, then you can and will turn this around. Too often, I see patients going from practitioner to practitioner with a deep belief that hasn't changed. I've been there. I validated time and time again what I was there to validate, that I have lupus and I needed to alter my life accordingly. I refused, and I'm so much better for it. The third thing is to crush overwhelm. So when you make a decision, you'll be hit with overwhelm. So much learning about new ways of eating, moving, sleeping, and taking various supplements, etc. You'll need strong support to remind you why you've begun this process, to be reminded of what your why is. For me, the alternative was my why. I was too scared to go back to that other state. And to crush this overwhelm, you need to ask yourself, who are you listening to? Do they really understand what you're going through? Have they gone through the process and gotten the result that you strive for? Or are they just sharing their knowledge with you? If yes to the above, then that's a good decision. But for those of you who haven't, my mission in life is to keep you from sick care. Our programs are mitigated to minimize confusion so that as you are coached, you're learning and you make progress every single day. We break it down to focused action that you can repeat every single day. A healthy life is all about creating healthy habits. What happens currently is that you listen to a bit of this and read a bit of that, and before you know it, you have bits and pieces of supplements and diet plans that you're following without really knowing if it helps you. This makes your effort so diffuse, so much so that you're back to where you started. It's like throwing mud on the wall and seeing what sticks. I feel the problem is that everyone who's an expert essentially says the same thing, but the marketing message is so different that in the end, everything is so confusing. So be strategic about what you choose to do. Lastly, if you've worked with me in the past, you know that I tell you the truth. I say it like it is. I will gently call you out on what you're not doing and help you to see your limiting beliefs. I will help you to identify, diagnose, and move towards creating your health so that you too can thrive in your life again. So whether you've been struggling to lose a little bit of weight or have a chronic illness like lupus that you'd like to work through, please call today to figure out the right program for you. Ask yourself, have you been dabbling at fixing your health, or are you fully committed to do whatever it takes to achieve that result? Let me help you to get clear on your outcome and move forward towards your goals. Call today and book a discovery call with me so that we can get clear programs set up for you. Thanks for joining me.